He's like, do you have a diamond cup though?
Kenny, you good, Kenny? Yeah. Well, Marcus, obviously congratulations on the win, but I have to ask, we saw you walking here on crutches, and usually when you fight Jonathan Martinez, your legs are pretty beat up after, so I guess physically, how you feeling after that?
Physically, I still feel pretty good. Obviously the leg is a little bit beat up. Man, that guy kicks like a horse. I think he is a horse, half horse, man. I swear. You see those thighs on that guy, man? Oh, man, super impressive. But yeah, I feel pretty good. Honestly, I think it's just got kicked in the leg. That's about it. So.
You think you'll feel the same way when the adrenaline wears off?
No. We'll see. Let's see how the next couple of days feel. But honestly, I feel like it's actually pretty good. And he just landed. One thing is he's really accurate where he landed at. It was the same spot twice. And I was like, gosh, man, I'm pretty good about taking that thing away. And you still found it, man. Lucky enough, I kept finding that right hand. So it ended up paying off. I think it deterred him.
And I think there were moments that you physically reacted to, like you were limping a bit, even back to the corner, and then that third round he kind of shot in and tried to wrestle. Were you surprised at kind of the change in approach that he took in that final round?
Yeah, I was surprised that he tried to wrestle me then. I thought he would have wrestled me earlier. We thought he was going to try to have a more wrestle heavy. I knew he was going to try that left kick. I mean, that's his thing, And obviously, if you look at a lot of his boxing, he's had trouble struggling with guys that can throw hands, and he was having a hard time with my jab. My left hand and my boxing, but he just whips that kick so hard and he lands it pretty accurate, I think his leg's gonna be a little beat up too though, because I definitely kicked his a couple times too. I was surprised that he decided to do it when he did, because I figured he was just gonna, like a dog on a bone, go after that. But I landed that good right hand and busted his nose wide open. He was bleeding all over my hand. I was like, oh, that's why he shot in. I get it, that nose is hurt,
And obviously it was a hyper competitive fight. Like he had moments and you had moments. But you were up 2-0 on all the judges' scorecards going to that final round. Did you feel you were up 2-0, or is your corner ones that they keep it? They kind of keep the like in measure. Like you might be up 2-0, but we're not gonna assume it's that.
I never think about that honestly. And don't get me wrong. Like I felt like I was winning the fight, but I wasn't really thinking about whether or not I was winning the fight. I was just trying to stay in the fight. That was my biggest thing. Like, my focus is always just being focused on being right where my feet are. You know what I'm saying? Like, right where my feet are, not looking at the outcomes, not focused on those things, because so many outside forces always look at that. And honestly, all the work that I've put in for this last year to be focused on this 15-minute outcome, it just breaks my heart. You know what I'm saying? Win, lose, draw. It's like this moment's already over. It happened and it's done now, and now it's on to the next thing. So, my focus wasn't necessarily on the fact that I was up or not. I was just like, hey, man, I'm trying to get him out of here in this third, I really wanted to get the finish. I like getting finishes. That's what I wanted to do. But, man, Jonathan Martinez is as tough as they come.
Now, it's obviously 4-0 UFC. I'm sure no one expects to lose when they make their UFC debut, but is this where you thought you'd be at? You beat a guy who fought Jose Aldo, he fought Cub Swanson. He was at one point the guy that might be a future champion, and you're now 4-0 and you just beat him in Madison Square Garden of all places. So is this where you thought you'd be?
Absolutely not. I give all the glory, and I'll say it loud as I can, to God, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I couldn't have written this story for myself. I never believed in myself to be this way. He has instilled a will and a strength inside of me that I never knew I even had, and that's where my focus is. I stay focused on that, and he just keeps delivering, keeps putting me in places that I never believed. And my manager said that he thought I'd be in the top 15 by the end of the year, and I didn't even fight. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be. I was like, I'm not rushing, but I don't know if I'm going to be there. And now here we are fighting and beating a guy who's in the top 15, and one that we respect so much, one that's fought guys that are the top echelon guys. So, man, God is so good. And the answer, I guess, is no. I wouldn't have been able to write this story. So
what do you want next? Are there, at this point, like you said, top 15, you can start looking at specific names, see the number next to you, I want to fight now 14, 13, or are you just going to keep coming and accepting the names that they present in front of you?
I think looking at the names that they present me is going to be what I'm looking for. But there's obviously different names that I think are going to make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave me Jose Aldo. I feel like that's a fight that they would give me. My partner just fought him, and he just lost to him, and I just come off a win of a guy he beat. We're both right there next to each other in the rankings. He's a little bit older. I'm a little bit older. I wouldn't doubt that that'd be a fight that they make. But there's so many other fights out there to make. So I'll just listen to what the UFC says. They've done a good job of matching me up thus far. And whatever fight it's going to be, I know it's going to be exciting. Especially, I knew taking the fight against Jonathan that now after a fight like this, I was only going to get tougher fights. So that was part of the plan as well. So now we're going to be keeping on stepping up to the next tough opportunity. So.
Would you go to Brazil to fight Aldo?
No, I don't want to go to Brazil to fight anybody. Yo, I don't want to. I'm sorry. Like, there's some people that are like, yo, I want to go travel and this, that, and third. Not me, man. I don't want to go travel over to Brazil and fight over there. Like, I love Brazilians. That's all good and gravy. But man, I'm not trying to do all that.
So what are the places you do want to fight that you haven't?
Japan, I will say that I just love the Japanese culture, so I would love to go to Japan, but yeah, that's about as deep as it gets. Other than that, New York, it's already done. That's checked off the list, so yeah, honestly, yeah. And then you know what? Honestly, Arizona, I want the UFC to come back. I want a full turnaround. Let's fight in Arizona. Why don't we get Jose Aldo back in Arizona? Yeah, that sounds good. How about that? But, I mean, that's asking a whole lot. That's kind of disrespectful to that man. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Marcus, right here. First of all, congratulations on the win. Really, really fun fight. The broadcast, talking about the third, they kept going off saying that Martinez was blowing it, that him clinching you, that if he kicked your legs a couple more times, that the fight was going to be over. I mean, I'm assuming you disagree with that.
I do not disagree with that. If he would have landed another couple good kicks, yeah, he probably could have got it done. I'm not lying. Man, I had to tough it out. People don't understand, taking leg kicks like that, especially against a guy like that, you don't have a choice. Once your leg breaks down, we're all human beings. Our bodies function the same way. Doesn't matter how tough you are. And I feel like my toughness is what kept me in there. But it doesn't matter how tough you are. Once that nerve is damaged and once that leg is damaged, you can't stand on it. You can't stand, you can't fight, And that's just true. So, yeah, but I think that they were right about that. But I think I was making the right adjustments that made it hard for him to find that. And he had to keep on searching. He had to keep on putting himself out of position to try to land that kick, which that's why he was getting caught with hard shots. And I think he knew that. So he just needed to make an adjustment too, and that he felt that the adjustment he needed was to clinch with me. I think that he should have just done more with the clinch, if anything. If he was going to clinch with me, we needed to actually get into a wrestling scramble, get me to the mat, do some damage, that type of thing, But I don't necessarily think it was a bad decision. He just needed to do more with it.
So your journey to the UFC, you kind of took an unconventional road. I mean, you got to the UFC, as you mentioned, you're an older guy. When you come in your 30s, you don't get a lot of hype that other people did. You've made that hype the hard way, getting in the cage and beating really good guys and having great performances. Just talk me through that. Why was it so different for you compared to everybody else?
Yeah, again, God has a plan for everybody's life, and it just so happens that His plan for my life is trials and tribulations and grit, and I accept His will, and I'm joyful in that, and I'm thankful for that. So if this is what my path is where I have to grind and claw for every bit of respect that I get, then I'll stand in that joyfully, with His honor, with His armor all on. So it is kind of crazy to think that's how it's been, but that's fine with me. My life has been that, being the father that I am, being the husband that I am, being the community member I am. It's always been a grind. It's always been tough. It's always been pulling it out together. So why change it now? And I think that the average person is going to learn to respect and appreciate that, because life is hard. Life is not all glittery all the time, and to smile through these things and to come in with the attitude of gratitude, even in the face of all the opposition, is a skill that most people will never have.
And my last question. A lot of times people will talk about who they want to fight next. They'll talk about where they want to fight next, but they don't talk about enough how they want to be on the card. Right now you're on the top prelim fight for huge pay-per-view. That's a big spot, but I mean, I'm assuming you want even bigger next time, maybe on the pay-per-view or maybe a fight night main event or something like that. Is that something you might, the matchmakers call you, kind of throw some suggestions like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously that'd be cool too, to be on the main card, jump on the main card after this. I feel like that's the next step. But again, feature prelims is cool with me. That's the most watched fight almost always, right? So I'm down with that. I just like to fight. I like to come out here. I like to perform. And the thing about that, not to get into the money talk, but major main event or getting on the main card, and if you get paid the same, so it's more so it's just I just want to fight great fighters, challenge myself, and keep going out here and getting these wins. So it would be awesome to step into not a main event, because I'm not trying to do 5 yet. Even though I feel like I can go 5, I ain't trying to do 5 just yet. We're gonna wait till I get some more in the bank to get to that. But I would definitely like to be on the main card. That'd be sick.
Marcus.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Marcus, you and your wife have 4 children. You're a fighter. She's a teacher. Walk me through an average day in the McGhee household.
It's pretty normal, actually. We live a pretty normal life. Wake up at 6 o'clock. Both of us wake up at 6 o'clock. Basically, I'm getting my tea ready, making my breakfast for the morning. They get up. She gets up with my 2 youngest and gets them ready to go to school. Kiss them goodbye, tell them I love them. They take off, and then I head off to training. And my two youngest are in the same. My 2 oldest are in high school, so they go to high school. Do their thing, and then we come back home. We usually hang out all night. After I get done training, because they usually get home right around 5 o'clock. I get off training around 4:45. It's a beautiful thing. So I get to spend nights with them. Every night I'm back home. My wife watches TV for the most part. I hang out and just walk back and forth in the house for the most part. So we're pretty chill. It's nothing too crazy. Pretty relaxed family life, just spending time with each other regularly. Tell you what, we laugh a lot, we joke a lot, and there's a lot of love.
I love that, man. And one more from me. Your teammate Mario Bautista, he got a lot of flack for his performance against Jose Aldo. Did you give him any advice, and did you have any conversations with him after the fight?
Yeah, we talked about it, but nothing crazy. A fight's a fight, and he did what he needed to do to win. And unfortunately, it's not always beautiful. I'm happy that I got the win against Jonathan Martinez, but would I say it's my favorite performance I've ever had? Absolutely not. I wish I could have done more. And I'm happy that he's safe and that he's healthy and that he gets to go back to his family safe and well as well. But that being said, we want to go out and we want to perform and we want to become stars and all this extra stuff that, all these things. But it's a fist fight, and people don't understand. It's so hard to go out there and to make performances against the top guys in the world. And these guys want it just as bad as you do. These guys train just as hard as you do. These guys have great coaches as well. So you do what you can to win because our checks are on the line, and a check was on the line for him, double the money or half the money. What other jobs like that, So he did what he needed to do to win, and I ride with my guys anyways, I ride with my guys, and he's going to show up his next fight, and he's going to silence all that anyways. When he looks great his next fight, they'll forget about the fact that they had an issue with how he won the fight against Jose Aldo. It's Jose Aldo. What are you going to do? This guy's a GOAT. You win. You do what you can to win,
Hey, Marcus. So you'll assumedly be a ranked fighter in a weight class like bantamweight. That's a very big deal. How much does that inevitable ranking next to your name mean to you?
It means a lot, but even then, I said it before this, the fruit of the labor was not the ranking, right? The fruit of the labor was walking through the path to get to this point, right? Putting in all the hours and then accepting the fight like this and then showing up with gratitude and attitude and then stepping in the cage and doing what I did, it's all of those things. And then So the number is just the cherry on top, but there's so many layers that are below that are that all the crowd is missing out there. All the layers of blood, sweat, and tears that each one of these coaches have put in. Times I've kicked their legs. Their legs are beat up right now too, I'm sure busted lips, they pour into me as well and growing shots on accident, so there's so much of that. So for me to overshadow that with a number, it's just I feel arrogant, you know what I'm saying? So do I appreciate it? Absolutely. But the fruit and the labor is in all the things that I've been able to build outside of the cage.
How crazy is it to look back on the fact that you started off as an 0-2 amateur?
Absolutely nuts, right? Honestly, absolutely nuts. What is that? What is that? That's crazy. Who could have wrote this story, right? Who could have wrote this story, I give it all to God. I give it all to God.
I'm not even sure you could have wrote it that good.
I know I didn't. My story was not anywhere near. It would have been way worse than this story, So I'm absolutely just grateful, and I plan to stay inside of that type of mentality and keep moving forward,
And last one for me. A lot of the top 15 bantamweights right now are at the MMA lab. You, Mario, Kyler, Sean O'Malley. Is there any chance you'd fight those guys, or you guys all kind of have an agreement to stay away from each other?
Well, none of us have that agreement to stay away from each other. But that being said, we're only fighting for a championship belt, There's not, do we want to fight each other? Hell no, right? No, we don't want to fight each other. I don't want to fight any of them, But I mean, we get asked that question so much, and it's so funny because when you look at the list, we'd have to beat Corey Sandhagen, Marab, we'd have to beat Peter Yan, Song Yadong, Rob Font. Like, yo, like so much has to happen for us to have that happen. So like I understand everybody bringing it up, but yo, we're human beings too. We got a lot of work to do before we even get into those type of conversations. So no, do I want to fight my teammates? Absolutely not. But if there's a team that could do it with respect and with honor and humility, I believe we absolutely can. We would separate it from what everybody else has made it into this big grudge thing and all this other stuff, and we could do it professionally. That being said, no, I don't want to fight none of them, and they don't want to fight me.
Marcus, just one more in the front, because like you said, we've asked you guys that a lot. Like I spoke to Kyler about it, I've spoken to Mario about it, and they've all said the same thing. Like, we don't have a problem fighting, but we're just not seeking it. But then you have guys like Aldo and Marab, and obviously famously Kane and DC. They're like flat no, never, even for the title. I guess what's different about you guys that you guys obviously have been like, you guys basically all started at the same time, and you're all in the UFC. So why are you guys different from those other guys that just flat out refuse even just for the belt?
Because like it's a fight, right? And that's what we do. So it's like feelings. We love each other. You know what I'm saying? There's real brotherly love there. Like we've poured into each other. So win, lose, or draw with each other, we're both getting paid to fight for a world title and set our families up for a whole different type of. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like. People make too much of it. You know what I'm saying? What is it if we go fight for 25 minutes? We fight you know how many rounds Mario gave me for this freaking camp? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what Kyler says, you basically fight for a belt in camp. Might as well get paid.
100%. Me and Kyler, I was there for his whole, like, we do this. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I feel like the crowd wouldn't even really want it. I said this to somebody else. I think I could fight, if me and Kyler fought each other, I think we could do all of our cage rounds, the whole camp together. Do every cage round together, the whole camp, and then still go out and fight each other, and it's like, so what if he beats me? Like, it's my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what if I beat him? It's my brother. We're going to make tons of money together and set our families up for glory and honestly and set our community up for glory. Come on, man. Like, we're not looking at it like anything crazy. I think these people look at it for like the wrong reasons, and I think we look at it for what it is. We love each other. We don't want to fight each other. We look to never fight each other. But if we absolutely had to, why are we getting so egotistical about it? It's a fist fight, Like, so what? We fist fight. We fist fight each other anyways. Mario tried to put it on me this camp. He got me ready for this thing, so it wouldn't be any different.
One more here. Marcus McGhee, Randy Steinke from the MMA Lab. I heard you're going to spoil your family when you go home. Where do you plan on taking your wife?
I absolutely plan on spoiling my family. First things first, the Zach Bryan concert. My wife, for sure, she deserves it. She loves country, and Zach Bryan's coming out. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil her and take her there for sure. And then, the kids, too, got to go out and spoil them. They've done so much for me and just rode with me this whole year. So super proud to have them, and I want to give back to them. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.